Hello and welcome to this special edition of Namaste World with me, Pranay Upadhyay. Today, all eyes are on New Delhi as President Vladimir Putin arrives on a two-day visit from strategic partnership and energy security to defense cooperation and even Russia's fascination with Bollywood. We have it all lined up for you in this edition of Namaste World. We begin with the top story that's making headlines and seems to have ruffled some feathers in New Delhi. India is met with some Western diplomats. This comes after an op-ed was published in an Indian newspaper accusing Putin of waging war in Ukraine and stalling serious peace talks. British High Commissioner Lindsay Cameron, French ambassador, and German ambassador to New Delhi, Philip Ackerman, wrote that Russia's attack on Ukraine were systematic, deliberate, and responsible for global instability. The envoys went further, accusing Moscow of cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, and territorial ambitions beyond Ukraine. They even cited Prime Minister Narendra Modi, saying India supports a solution of the battlefield. The article came just days before Putin's two-day India visit, when he is set to hold the 23rd India-Russia summit with Prime Minister Modi. Former Foreign Secretary Kamal Sibal called the Western envoy's piece a vicious article that breaches diplomatic norms and amounts to a diplomatic insult to India. He added that the op-ed attempt to fuel anti-Russia sentiments in India and questions the morality of India's close relation with Russia. On December 3, Russian Ambassador Denis Alepov published a counter-piece in the same newspaper accusing the Western envoys of presenting a grossly distorted version of the conflict. As Prime Minister Modi welcomes President Putin, the two leaders are expected to discuss defense, energy, trade, and ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, while reviewing the special and privileged strategic partnership between the countries. With a wide-ranging agenda and the Ukraine conflict hanging, what are the key issues that will shape the high-stakes summit? Our next report tells you more.
New Delhi welcomes Vladimir Putin. After 4 years, the Russian president returns to India for the 23rd India-Russia Annual Summit. A visit loaded with strategy, pressure, and major decisions for both nations. Putin will meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Draupadi Murmu during his two-day stay. And this time, the stakes are far higher than a ceremonial state visit. So, what's on the table? Let's break it down. A partnership ready for reset. India and Russia step into the summit with one goal: to review their partnership and chart a fresh roadmap. The relationship has been steady, but the past few years have tested it. The Ukraine war, Trump's tariffs, shifting global alliances, all have reshaped how New Delhi and Moscow engage. This visit is India's chance to restore momentum, and Russia's chance to reaffirm that India remains one of its closest, most reliable partners in Asia. Defense. Defense cooperation lies at the heart of the meeting. India wants clarity and speed on pending military projects, and that includes the remaining S-400 air defense systems, delays in the Sukhoi upgrade program, and future fighter aircraft options. The Su-57, Russia's fifth-generation jet, is expected to feature in discussions. So are joint weapons programs, new air defense systems like the Panzer and long-range radar technologies. On India's side, the message is simple: faster deliveries, stronger timelines, and deeper technology partnerships. Energy. Energy will be the second big pillar. India's crude imports from Russia surged in recent years, but tightening US sanctions have complicated that flow. Russia is offering deeper discounts to retain India as a long-term buyer. For India, the challenge is balancing affordable energy with geopolitical pressure. For Russia, the priority is protecting one of its largest Asian energy markets. Both sides will push for a stable, predictable energy corridor that functions despite global headwinds. The Ukraine war. The Ukraine conflict looms over every conversation. India has consistently pushed for dialogue and de-escalation. Putin's visit gives New Delhi a rare chance to deliver that message directly at the highest level. the tightrope is real. Maintain a strong defense and energy relationship with Russia while reinforcing India's commitment to peace. Trade. Trade between India and Russia is at record levels, driven mainly by oil. But this model is now under strain. Both sides want to diversify. India aims to increase exports in pharmaceuticals, machinery, electronics, agriculture, and textiles. Russia wants predictable investments, long-term contracts, and deeper cooperation in areas like civil aviation, critical minerals, railways, and manufacturing. A new framework for labour mobility and industrial projects is also expected to be discussed. The message on trade is also simple: move beyond oil, build a broader economic backbone. The Donald Trump factor. The geopolitical backdrop is impossible to ignore. The United States has increased tariffs on Indian goods. It has discouraged India from importing Russian oil. And new legislation threatens tougher penalties for countries dealing with Russian energy. India faces pressure from both sides, Washington and Moscow, while trying to protect its own strategic autonomy. The summit becomes India's chance to reinforce one message: it will engage all major powers, but on its own terms. So, as New Delhi welcomes Vladimir Putin, the summit becomes more than a diplomatic event. It's a moment of recalibration for defense, for energy, for trade, and for India's place in a world caught between competing power centers. And when the talks conclude, one thing will stand out: India is shaping its future not by choosing sides, but by choosing strength. With Rudrashish Kanjalal, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
New Delhi has turned into a fortress tonight. A 5-layer shield, elite commandos, drones jammers, AI surveillance, anti-sniper units, and Putin's own secretive security army. All converging for a visit wrapped in extraordinary secrecy. From a flown-in Aurus Senat to a mobile lab that tests every meal, nothing is left to chance. With security operation this intense, what message does India intend to send to the world as Putin touches down? Here is a full story.
New Delhi has prepared a 5-layer protection grid for Russian President Vladimir Putin. Reports say that Putin's visit is in very secret cover. The NSG commandos will handle the security of the outer layer. SPG, NSG, RNAW, IP and Delhi police will keep their own security layer. Behind them will be drone jammers, AI monitoring route sanitization and anti-sniper units. As per reports, when Putin goes on a foreign trip, he is accompanied by almost 100 security officers. Putin's most secure car, Aurus Senat, is also arriving. This car protects him from any kind of attack. The hotel in which Putin will stay has been sanitized. Over here, 24 hours of security is set for the Russian team. Let me tell you that wherever Putin goes, he already has an invisible army of his own. He gets to interact with the common people and the local atmosphere. Even a portable lab is coming with him. By using this, all of his meals are tested for poison. Putin eats after the lab's OK report. The Russian president also carries a portable toilet with him along with his food, so that he doesn't lose any of his body's wastage in other countries. It is said that if anything related to the president is left on the foreign land, then the investigation can find out about the health of the president, which is a protocol related to national security. Bureau Report, India Today Global.
Attention is now locked on one potential game changer, a defense pact that could take India from the S-400 to the more advanced S-500 Prometheus. If Modi and Putin push ahead with the more powerful upgrade, how sharply could this reshape India's security edge against China and Pakistan? Let's take a closer look.
The S-400 air defense missile system, the difference maker during Operation Sindoor. It came from Russia with love and brought Pakistan to its knees. But if India's enemies thought that the S-400 was deadly, wait till they face the wrath of the S-500. Russian President Vladimir Putin lands in New Delhi this week, a high-stakes visit, advanced air defense systems, potentially defining India's security posture, all on the agenda. And the big headline is the next generation S-500 Prometheus. Unlike the S-400, the S-500 isn't just about air threats. It promises a multi-domain shield, air, ballistic missile, even near-space defense. Its reach up to roughly 500 to 600 kilometers, with an altitude intercept capability as high as 180 to 200 kilometers. That's a massive jump from the S-400's roughly 400 kilometer range and 30 kilometer altitude ceiling. The S-400 counters aircraft, drones and cruise missiles. The S-500 aims to handle all of that, plus long-range ballistic missiles, hypersonic weapons and strategic threats. If the deal goes through, and especially if co-production begins on Indian soil, the S-500 could become India's single biggest defense acquisition from Russia. With Putin in New Delhi this week, attention is firmly on whether the S-500 deal and perhaps even joint production will be sealed. If it is, India's air and missile defense architecture could enter a new era. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, much of the focus from the Modi-Putin meet is on defense, diplomacy and geopolitics. But there is another India-Russia bond that rarely makes headlines. Long before strategic partnership and summits, it was Bollywood that captured Russian heart. For over 70 years, Indian films have survived wars, political upheavals and Hollywood dominance to remain a cultural staple across Russia. So, as the spotlight shifts to the summit, is Bollywood still India's most unexpected soft power asset in Moscow?
India-Russia ties aren't just stitched together with arms deals and oil tankers. They are bound by something deeper, softer, and far more enduring: culture. For over 70 years, this partnership has survived wars, sanctions, geopolitics, and global realignments. And yet, at the heart of it all lies something simple: stories, songs, students, and travelers who kept the two nations connected long before diplomacy caught up. As President Vladimir Putin arrives in India for a two-day visit, it's the perfect moment to peel back the layers and look beyond missiles and minerals. Because India-Russia ties didn't begin with MiGs or nuclear reactors. They began as far back as the 1400s, when a Russian merchant named Afanasy Nikitin wandered across India and penned his iconic travelogue, A Journey Beyond the Three Seas. And centuries later, Russia fell head over heels for Bollywood. The Soviet Union didn't just watch Indian movies, it embraced them. Raj Kapoor's Awara turned into a cultural tsunami in 1954. Awara Hoon echoed through Moscow streets. Kapoor wasn't just a star, he was a phenomenon. Hema Malini charmed millions with Sita or Geeta. And then came Mithun Chakraborty's Disco Dancer, a film so loved that even Mikhail Gorbachev joked about his daughter cared more about Mithun than Amitabh Bachchan. From SRK's open-armed magic to the recent success of RRR and Pushback, the affair continues. But cinema is just one chapter. Thousands of Indian students flock to Russian universities every year, over 31,000 in 2024 alone, drawn by world-class medical education. Russian students too come to India through ICCR scholarships in music, culture, philosophy and Ayurveda. Hindi, Tamil, Bengali, Sanskrit all taught in Russian universities. Meanwhile, yoga, classical dance and Indian music thrive in Moscow's Jawaharlal Nehru Cultural Center. And now, tourism is set to explode. With new consulates in Yekaterinburg and Kazan and a visa-free group travel plan on the horizon, India-Russia travel is about to get easier than ever. So yes, defense ties matter, energy matters, trade matters, but it's the human stories, the films, the literature, the classrooms and the travelers that kept this friendship alive. Long after governments changed, It's people who kept India and Russia close, and still do. With Rishika Aradhya, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
And with that, we wrap up this special edition of Namaste World. From tense diplomatic exchanges to billion-dollar defense bets, from unprecedented security layers to the soft power of Bollywood, Putin's India visit is shaping up to be far more than just another summit. For all the latest updates and exclusive ground reports on Putin's India visit, subscribe to India Today Global.